always thrilled to see this man's face. He is doing kind things with the animal kingdom at all times. So let's start with him where we left off with Cody, because I want to get his assessment on what it is that we were talking about, how he feels, a ruling from him on the proper way to treat a dog when training a dog, how firm to be with a dog. Tell Ron Magill the sound that you like to make to train flying Charlie, untrained Charlie,
jumping Charlie,
eats couches Charlie.
Right. When my dog does wrong, such as I catch him red-handed with one of my vintage record albums in his mouth, I make the following sound. Bay. And he immediately drops the album. A wash of guilt comes over his face, and he slinks away.
He does it 10 minutes later.
Yes, he
well,
does.
yes.
But he does it.
Right.
He does it.
You have a great memory.
Again, though, but it's not because he's scared. Again, it's just there's that guy again, and he's creepy, and he's making that sound. It's not a deterrent in any way. It's just the weirdest thing I, as a dog, have ever seen.
That's right, but it works for that instant.
But the sound correlates with a negative response, and that's what the dog is reading. As long as he's consistent with the sound, he could go yippee. And as long as it correlates with a negative response, to him, yippee is not a celebration. To him, yippee is, I screwed up. So as long as consistency has everything to do with properly training a dog.
Thank you.
Well, how did it work for you, though? Because I would imagine that you would be very gentle. I would imagine that you wouldn't do a lot of losing of patience with animals.
No, I don't lose patience. I speak firmly. I never hit the dog, ever do that. A lot of times, just ignoring an animal, a firm no, and walking away from the animal like a dog is a negative response, because dogs, they crave that companionship, you see. So they can sense that, and you need to be negative about that. I never, ever advocate hitting an animal, ever. And with your hand, with a newspaper, whatever, nothing. Never hit an animal that way. That is not a way to train an animal. You need to be firm, consistent, and the negative response would be just to absolutely disassociate yourself from the animal, walk away, make sure it's not rewarded in any way. That's the best way. Listen, while I'm on the air here, I've got to do something that has to be done. And that is, I have to formally apologize to Stugotz.
Yep.
I have heard from reliable sources that Stugotz was not lying to me when he said that a snake was coming into his garage, was halfway in, halfway out, and he lowered the door on it. Now, I must confess, I insinuated that he was lying to me, that he was making it up, and he was not, because credible people have come forward. Stugotz, I am profoundly apologetic, profoundly sorry for insinuating that you were a fantasy-creating liar. So on that note,
no.
I will then say that snake was the dumbest effing snake on the planet.
Yeah, I'm still a liar. I mean, but that was the one time I got you where I was actually telling the truth, and the credible source was my wife.
Yeah, but was the snake sick? Was the snake? You're saying it wouldn't have ever happened. That a snake would never be so dumb.
I don't know of any snake that would have ever
Ron,
done
was the snake sick?
It could have been sick. It could have been sick. It could have been venomized. It could have already been traumatized. But for a snake to remain in one place as a garage door is coming down, making all the sound and vibrating, it's unheard of. The snake must have gone into coma, must have seen Stugotz and just become comatose for some reason.
Or Stugotz could have an exceptionally quiet garage closer. Right? Is that not one of the possibilities?
Kudos on the creativity, Stu.
That is not a possibility, Dan.
Yeah.
Just a snake can actually sense the vibrations of you walking on the ground.
Yeah.
So a garage door coming down, trust me, is not going to be is going to be detected by a snake, unless it's a really stupid or a snake that's already on its deathbed.
Could the snake have been napping?
No.
No, the snake was moving.
Yeah. And then halfway into a garage and halfway out of a garage. The fact that, listen, there was something wrong with that snake. But the fact is, listen, let's not make any excuses here. In this case, Stugotz was telling the truth.
Yep.
I called him a liar. I apologize.
Ron, if we were going through the senses in the animal kingdom, all of the senses, not just some of them, what are the senses that you're most amazed by as you talk about, like, for example, a snake being able to feel vibrations?
Sure. I mean, that's absolutely one of them. You know, a snake, again, the majority of its body is in contact with the ground. It can feel those vibrations amazingly well. But the other sense, the heat sensors of snakes, you know, snakes have little pits on the roof of their mouth and sometimes around their mouth that can sense the difference between the outdoor and the body heat of, let's say, a mouse or any kind of warm-blooded animal. They can detect that, and they can detect it if the mouse has been walking, let's say, 4 or 5 minutes ago, walked along this trail. It leaves a little heat pad. If you saw an infrared film of a warm-blooded animal walking through the forest, you'd see the footprints it leaves behind. They said, actually, that tiny little heat difference, a snake can detect that and track an animal down that way. That's freaking amazing.
Ron, I'm wondering, is there an animal anywhere in the animal kingdom that is like Tua? And what I mean by that is the animal's a killer, but it kills you with kindness, with a smile.
I don't know of any animal that kills with a smile, Stugotz.
Really? But you agree Tua is a killer, right? With a smile?
I'm really, have become very, very impressed with his skills. Not as much as skills, but his level-headedness.
Hold on a second. Hold on. First Take is doing so much better of a show than us right now.
Ron, which is the most difficult animal to train?
Oh, gosh. I don't know. I mean, some people will say that it's domestic cat because they're so individual and so have a mind of their own, but I disagree. I think domestic cats can be trained pretty effectively. It's all relative to the level of intelligence of an animal. I mean, it's hard to train a roach. I mean, that would be hard to train.
I was sort of specifically referring to zoo animals. I presume, like, in terms of the work that you guys do at the zoo, is there a lot of difficulty with animals?
I think it's a lot less difficult than people think. I mean, we've got our crocodiles trained here. They're trained to go to certain points and to react in a certain way. So, here's an animal that has the size, a brain the size of a walnut, and we can train it to do things that most people can train their dogs to do. So I think animals have a lot more intelligence than many times we give them credit for, which is why I always cringe when I hear Le Batard call something dumb or stupid.
I'm hearing and reading reports that Michael Irvin, First Take started at 10, went off.
They're bringing
toilet paper right now. He's
oh my God.
He is patting his face down with a huge roll of paper towels that he went off without anyone else talking for 11 straight minutes.
Wow. It's a record.
Well, this is Michael Irvin's star turn. He has seen what J.J. Redick and Mad Dog have done with this space. And after the Cowboys, Michael Irvin... dude, he's got
a washcloth.
He's got 30 years on TV now, 20 years on TV. Like keeping the Dallas brand alive when it hasn't been any good since Michael Irvin.
Not always on it.
Well, there's that. Let's go back. Mike, do you have any of the sound from Michael Irvin coming through here so they can see how dead on your impersonation is? Now, you were doing...
Well, my impersonation is Michael Irvin hosting on WQAM.
With Kevin Kiley.
Kevin Kiley. That one's especially niche.
Yeah. Do we have any sound, though, of Michael Irvin coming in here when he was in this 11-minute place where he could rev up to the preacher high and captivate for 11? Do you know how long 11 televised minutes is?
They also seem to be in the LA studio today, so it's 7 a.m. where he is.
When I got it, it took me a little while to get it. I got some Lewinsky on mine because I went right home touching my baby in it. She said, "No, we're not." I said, "Yes, we are."
You're not getting into this bed. You're not getting into this bed with this jacket.
Yes, I am.
Yes, you are.
Yes, we did.
All right. There you go. That is a startling story, but okay. That's wearing the Hall of Fame jacket while having sex, being uncomfortably
Fellatio.
Michael Irvin.
Yeah, referring to fellatio as Lewinsky.
Hey, on a side note, did anybody ever get any sound of Dorsey? I wanted sound of that.
Oh, yeah. Wow. I would love to have heard that sound. Expletive deleted. Wow.
Greg, Ron, what are the animals doing with this storm that's coming? Are they sticking around or have they started to kind of flee the area?
Well, it's a good question because I'll tell you this. I remember during Hurricane Andrew, 12 hours before that storm hit here, there wasn't a native animal to be found around the zoo. No squirrels, no blue jays, no ibis, nothing. It was all gone, even though it was a beautiful day, puffy white clouds, blue skies. So along that northwestern coast of Florida, I'd be paying very close attention to the wildlife there, the wading birds and such. Are they staying in place? Are they moving out? If they start moving out, guys, get ready because you're about to get your world rocked.
Well, I have been remiss here, Ron, and I don't know, you've talked to us before about Hurricane Andrew and how much damage it did at the Miami Zoo, and we're in the middle right now of Miami being, South Florida basically being the only thing that's not in the hurricane cone, and Tampa, it seems, is heading for something unspeakably devastating, because if this direct hits on Tampa, I don't think people realize what 10 feet of seawater is going to do to a place.
Especially Tampa, because unlike, Zoo Miami, we're fairly far inland. Tampa, the Tampa Aquarium, Lowry Park, those are right against the coast there. And that could be just horrific the way that Tampa Bay is structured. The storm surge alone could be horrific. I'm really feeling for my friends up there. I've got a lot of friends that are working at those two incredible facilities, and I'm praying for them, man. I'm praying that something is not as bad as what it looks like, because I can tell you right now, this could be catastrophic. Not to mention, I don't even know what's going to have happened in Cuba, because I was in Cuba a couple of years ago in Pinar del Rio and Havana, and that eye went right over there. And I can tell you that area was already compromised. I can't imagine the devastation of that storm going over there, what's happening there. I'm afraid to hear the reports out of Cuba.
What do you imagine that the Tampa Zoo's doing right now, like to prepare for the worst?
They are pretty much preparing for flooding more than anything. They're trying to get every animal they can up into higher elevations. They're taking their birds, for instance, they're trying to secure them in secure structures. The smaller animals, small mammals being secured in secure structures. I'm telling you, we think about hurricane, we think about the wind. The wind can be devastating, absolutely. But the fear for the aquarium, the fear for the zoo is that storm surge. If that water goes in and it starts, infiltrating their water systems and floods, a lot of animals, they have nowhere to go to, and they'll drown. I mean, that's one of the reasons we moved our zoo inland here to Zoo Miami from the old Crandon Park Zoo, because back in, I think it was 1962, Hurricane Camille killed hundreds of animals, not from wind, but that Key Biscayne got flooded. They drowned. And that's a big, big issue.
Ron, ahead of Hurricane Andrew back in '92, there was a very memorable photo in the Miami Herald about Zoo Miami storing dozens of flamingos in a zoo bathroom to protect them.
It's one of the best photos he's ever taken, and he's told us before. I don't know, is that for sale, Ron? Because it's one of the photos that you're proudest of.
Yeah, and I get asked if it's for sale all the time. I am going to make it for sale. I'm going to get with you guys about that, and we're going to make it available to listeners if they want it, because it is an iconic photograph. I remember. And it'll never happen again, because now we built a separate structure just for the flamingos, so they'll never be in the bathroom again. But it was a last-ditch effort to save those animals' lives, and in fact, in hindsight, it did.
Well, I'm just wondering, Ron, in with the Tampa Zoo in mind, how does a zoo protect animals when you're going to get a Category 4 or something giving you a pretty direct hit? What do you do with the larger animals? How do you protect them?
The bottom line is this, Greg. Most of those larger animals have what we call night houses. There are enclosures that are built to withstand the strength of the animal. Poured concrete, welded metal, basically strong enough to withstand the strength of the animal, and therefore they are strong enough to withstand the strength of the hurricane. That's what happened here in Hurricane Andrew. All of our dangerous animals, the lions, the bears, the great apes, the tigers, they all go into these structures that they go into every evening, and those structures were strong enough to withstand the power of the winds of the hurricane. And fortunately, like I said, we are very high in our altitude here as far as above sea level, as far as Miami goes, so we didn't have that kind of flooding issue. We're going to have flooding issues here with this storm. We're getting torrential rain here right now, and we're going to have to monitor this. That's why we're closed today and tomorrow, because for those who've been to the zoo, we have moated exhibits, and the moats have water in them. But if the water level rises too much, the animal can just swim across and get out. So there'll be several animals that my suspicion will be off exhibit for several days until that water level lowers.
Ron, I don't think anyone disputes that it's an incredible photo, but why would I want a photo of flamingos in a bathroom?
I don't know. Why don't you ask the 100 other people that have paid me thousands of dollars for it?
But I see it on Google right now. I could just print it.
I just printed 10.
Yep.
Yeah.
And just Google image,
I'll buy
flamingos
it, Ron.
bathroom,
I'll buy
send
it.
it to
This is
Walgreens.
Flimsy
$3
business
maybe.
plan, right?
I had one
2022,
person
I could
actually-
just go to
actually had me print
CVS.
one beautifully. Did freaking Whittingham go print it off the internet? Look at that.
Yeah, those are
Oh,
mine.
look, there it is.
Yeah,
Wow.
like-
Yeah.
We
You
can
should
you
sell
get a
them.
nice color printer. and
Thousands
it's
of
just-
dollars.
I
Just
gotta
like
be
you.
honest, it looks even better in black and white
Yeah,
than in
it
color
really
because it
does,
looks
yeah.
from a different
For
time.
For a
Artsy.
whopping 79 cents, you could have color.
Yeah.
Whittingham just farted out 9 of them. Your great artwork.
You guys done?
Ron, good talking to you. Thank you.
The
Always,
people that paid thousands of dollars know about Google.
Tell them I have a bridge.
Ron, thank you. He is so done with us.
Oh,
the,
man.
the beleaguered smile under the mustache. An ambassador.
gonna start
for
passing him out
An
in the
ambassador
studio.
for the zoo.
Take one and
and
walk
the-
around.
Christmas,
How
Christmas,
about
you
that?
guys
Yes,
suck.
pass them
You know that?
around.
I might too, Mike.
Pass them around. Some of the best artwork. All right. Stugotz would like
Mine in a
to
frame.
leave behind here on his computer and never think about again.
Copyright infringement is what that's
it's
called.
wrong.
I'll be
Damn
It's
right it
wrong.
is.
Ron,
Whatever.
it's a beautiful
Yeah.
photograph. Don't
Lawsuit.
let them
Everyone's doing it.
Don't let them make you less of an artist. You're a wonderful photographer, and what you do for the animals is exceedingly kind. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Take care, guys.